Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and welcome to a very special edition of The Knife Guy. What are we talking about today? Today's topic is evolution. What does that mean? I've realized over the years, specifically in the last few months, that it's time for this channel to evolve. What does that mean? I have very much enjoyed bringing, at least from my perspective, the best of the best to my community and by extension, the knife world. I enjoy finding the best things in terms of their price tags, right, in terms of their utility, and getting them out there to people who are looking for things in specific categories. My content in its entirety has never been meant for everyone. I've always tried to stress that I make lots of different types of content for lots of different types of knife people, but primarily I am a collector and enthusiast, and I am a design reviewer. I have very much enjoyed this, and I regret to inform you guys, well, specifically people who don't like my content, that you are 100% stuck with me for years to come. I am not going anywhere. Sorry, did I scare some of you? That was intentional. I'm sorry. That was a mean trick, right? I made it seem I probably made the thumbnail really clickbaity and drew you guys in, right? Oh boy. So what are we here for? Huh? What's the deal? What are you talking about? Evolution. I have decided, after a quick look around Amazon, that I would find a lot of enjoyment, as my community would, if I dedicated a small segment of my schedule to reviewing God-tier Amazon trash. I love this idea. Not everybody's going to be as excited as me, but as many of you know, recently I have discussed with Nick Shabazz temporarily taking over his Terrible Knives live series. And if you have not been around for a long time, let me tell you about this, because when Nick Shabazz was doing Terrible Knives live, this was a special time in the knife world. People from all over congregated. You guys thought that I had a lot of people in my live streams. I remember a few select live streams that Nick Shabazz was doing that had an absolutely astronomical number of people live. He was showcasing some of the funniest things that TSA had confiscated from people, and the stuff that people carry, like your average Joe. It's just hilarious, right? Now, you know, we're all nose in the air knife snobs, right? But we would prefer that people refer to us as the educated folks, the educated knife folks, right? We know better, right? But we all started out, we probably all in one way, shape, or form kind of were drawn to the knife world via this entry-level crap, right? And I don't mean like, you know, just like a knife from a reputable company, but it's just not like a very, you know, great knife compared to something that you could spend more money on. No, I mean actual, like, weird, like, wizard and fire and, you know, 8 balls and Joker faces garbage. Fantasy garbage, or stuff that's got wrenches sticking out of foreheads and weird, like, bottle opener, like the stuff that you'd find on Amazon if you typed in fantasy knife. In fact, I invite you to do that. Go to Amazon and type in fantasy knife and just laugh, because that's what I did for probably an hour. It's amazing, right? Now, why am I doing this all of a sudden? Early on in the channel, years and years and years ago, I told you guys that because I did review a few like real garbage fantasy knives, right? And truthfully, the reason, if you want some channel lore, the reason that I did that back then is because I was desperate for anything to talk about, because I was super limited. Anything that I could get my hands on, I would talk about. Once I got the opportunity to handle some more serious stuff, I started exclusively reviewing that. And my mindset back then was, I didn't even get this thing out. I just showed it, but Batman. Let me drive the point home. This is the type of stuff that I want to dedicate a small segment of my schedule to. Not like altering every part of my schedule. No, the main content will continue to be very serious knife reviews, right? Covering products that are well made. But anyways, my mindset back then, we should probably just leave this out, right, for the remainder, because I actually did get this from Nick Shabazz years ago. One of those exact terrible knives, right? my mindset back then was don't talk about it so as not to promote it, right? Don't even bring it up. So this has done, I think I was like, I really had myself convinced that by simply like exclusively talking about stuff that was, anywhere from inexpensive to very expensive, but still well made and made, by a company or by an individual that was serious, right? And with materials that were, reasonable for the price tags, just all within the parameters of like, this is like meant to be a serious thing, right? By not talking about anything outside of those parameters, I was not promoting anything to anybody else. Well, what that does is it creates this, as is the case with any, creator on social media, right? You're still within a certain echo chamber because you are not talking about anything else. By not talking about any of this stuff, I'm not drawing the attention of people who might be considering some of this stuff. The people who might be considering some of this stuff, bless their souls, simply won't venture into my channel in many cases because I'm not talking about the stuff that they are interested in. So number one, my two motivating factors, primarily, the primary reason for wanting to, the primary motivation behind wanting to actually review some of this stuff is humor, 100%. I want to entertain you guys, and I would love to attack full force, like the megaton kamehameha of negative reviews. I would love to thrash this stuff because it deserves it, right? This type of cutlery is, obviously there are people who buy this stuff who know that it's trash, right? And they're just kind of, haha, whatever, right? I'm on a budget. I'm just trying to entertain myself. But there are so many people out there who have no idea. They have no idea. And these companies that are making this stuff, I mean, it's kind of predatory, right? Because the way that they're listed, I mean, if you go in and you read some of the information on this stuff, like if you go to Amazon or wherever this stuff is being sold, the information on it is so specifically like the text or the way that it reads is meant to draw in the unassuming customer, right? There is essentially every misdirection, every opportunity for misdirection to focus on how cool it looks, right? And no information on what it's made out of, who is making it, right? There's nothing there, right? The other alarming thing is some of this stuff has thousands of purchases. Thousands! Are you kidding me? That's crazy. Thousands of people, right? Now, if you look on YouTube, periodically here or there, you got random smaller channels that are kind of like, hey, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. I'm just doing my impression of some of the stuff I saw. Hey, my name's Jeremy. I've got my new Ninja Master. I got my Jackhawk 9000. Came sharp out of the box. You can flick it out. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Like that is the information that we're getting. Also, looking into the Amazon reviews is even funnier. Knife came sharp, 100%, 2 thumbs up. Like, why? Wow. Amazing. That's amazing. That's really all I was looking for, was a sharp blade. You have some larger content creators. I really enjoyed, seeing Melissa recently had a short. You'll have to excuse my voice. I'm still getting over my recent cold. But she had bought some trash on Amazon, and it was really funny, right? So you have some larger content creators out there kind of covering this stuff. But the other reason that I really want to cover this is because I want to attract this mysterious, massive population of people who have no idea what they're buying. I want to attract them to my channel. Why? Because I want them to be introduced to proper cutlery. Not necessarily ultra expensive stuff, but cutlery that is made correctly, that is made to be used as a tool, right? That is designed to last. A proper tool, right? There's plenty of trash you can buy out there for $10, $20, $30, $40, $50. And there are plenty of really good knives that you can buy for $25, $30 is kind of the base, $40, $50, $60, $70, right? I want this. I feel like that this is, obviously, again, remember, my content is not in its entirety made for everybody. So every single one of you watching, there's going to be some people going, oh, I don't know, this is a bad idea. I don't know if I'd want to watch that. That's fine. In fact, there's tons of my content that you probably don't want to watch. The part of the reason that I make so many different types of content, including full reviews, unboxings, top 10s, discussion, collection updates, TKG, the reason that I do so much of this stuff is so that you guys can pick and choose what you want to watch on a daily or weekly basis. So by adding this in periodically, it will simply be entertainment for people who are, like just long-term members of my channel who maybe would enjoy me changing it up just a little bit, right? I'm entertained by this type of stuff because it will be absolutely full of sarcasm. It will be a completely different type of video. But on the other hand, I legitimately do want to inform people. I want this type of stuff up on YouTube so that people can go, oh, there is actually a video of this, right? I want people to know, like, hey, this thing that looks like super cool for $8.97, it's extremely bad and you should not waste your money on it, right? It's amazing to me how much of a lack of information there is on this stuff. Furthermore, I have been seeing more and more and more, and I know you guys have too. If you're on not so much Instagram Reels, but YouTube Shorts and TikTok, oh my God, TikTok is a nightmare. I have expanded into TikTok, and if it gets banned, whatever, I don't really care. But my TikTok exploded over 3.5 months, 4 months, however long I've been there, to 120,000 followers. And that's great. But what that told me was the type of stuff that I showcase is essentially unknown on TikTok. TikTok has been being served hot trash, just epic, mythic level trash. The guy who opens the long rifle case and it's got it's the Sapphire Ninja set, and with the Sapphire sight, Sapphire Spear, Sapphire War Axe. If you know it, that you know that that's trash. But if you look at the comments, there are thousands of people go, whoa, how to order, bro, need this. Oh, if you know what you're buying and you want to buy that just to entertain yourself, then fine, right? I mean, make yourself happy, sure. But if you're the people who are buying that thinking that this is made well, that it's designed to be used, I mean, all they're doing is just decreasing the amount of time between now and their next hospital visit. That's what they're doing. And they're paying to get in line. You're paying to get in line to go pay for a hospital bill. That's what you're doing, right? So TikTok is one thing, but it also happens on YouTube Shorts. In fact, it happens so much that the people on these platforms cannot tell the difference between some of this stuff and some of the stuff that I show and some of the other content creators, right? Some of that, in short form content, there's not enough time to give complete context. And people who don't know better just all assume that it's the same stuff. So you have another onion layer of confusion where you have people who are educated enough to know that some of this stuff is crap, but not educated enough to be able to distinguish between everything. So, the simple skeptic or the simple, common, cynical, chronically online, idiot, will essentially lump everything together because that's the simplest conclusion. This is a problem. This is a huge problem. So what I want to do is kill a lot of birds with one stone here and start making content about this stuff with the ultimate goal of educating people. Entertainment first, but absolutely, educating people. I just, it kills me to think that, and I still, honestly, on, maybe not like every day, but I still run into people all the time in my local vicinity who are carrying knives that are legitimate, just gas station knives. And I'll handle them and they will be, obviously they're completely dull because these people will never sharpen. So they're already dangerous, right? Totally dull. I'll even get stories from some of these people. Yeah, I really cut my head sharp as hell. Sharp as hell, really got myself the other day. It's obviously dull. They got themselves because they were doing something stupid with it, right? There's just a whole bunch of different events that occurred that were completely preventable, that are just essentially misunderstood as it's just a normal protocol for using a knife, right? Yeah, I was using my super trusty you know, my Smith & Wesson Ultra Extreme Ops Black Tactical Falcon Razor. And, you know, just using a knife the way that I've always have as a screwdriver. And once you know it, I slipped and the damn thing was so sharp, sliced my finger open pretty good. So obviously made a great purchase. That's a story I hear all the time. I hear that kind of thing all the time. And I'm like, no, this is a bad tool. It's dull because you're not using it right and because it's not made anything worth a crap. You're cutting things you shouldn't be cutting with it. You're doing things with a knife you shouldn't be doing with it. The thing is barely holding together. The pivot screw's loose. The pivot hole isn't cut correctly. Whatever was in there, you know, as far as washers are now totally disintegrated. I'm not even certain that it had washers to begin with. The lockup geometry is terrible. I can't believe the damn thing doesn't slip on you all the time, right? The rubber or whatever it was made out of is like falling apart. It's missing screws. I mean, a number of things, right? A lot of people would say, yeah, but if it's lasted that long, it's still a mark of a good tool. But is it? If the thing is constantly slowing the user down, and every time you are using it, you're essentially rolling the dice to find out if you cause yourself a hospital journey worthy wound. No, I don't think that was $10, $20, $30 well spent. I think that, again, you know, it's just like the disclaimer in the video, in every single video. The purpose of the channel is to, you know, show proper use of a tool, right? To showcase these things as tools and also to teach about proper use. The other issue with this stuff is as much as some of the stuff that I show, you know, comes off as really weapony, you guys know that my perspective on this channel has always been that a knife is a tool first. Even if the thing is called the combat troodon, which is an argument that I get all the time. And I'll throw logic and actual math back at you, factually, of the entirety of combat troodons that have been sold. I would bet you all of my assets that 99.99999999999999999% of them have been used as tools versus weapons. Because the people who are actually going to buy this stuff aren't out fighting people with it. That's just not what's happening, right? But the stuff that is sold on Amazon, it's very much advertised in a sneaky way as like a means of, you know, slaying your foes. I don't even know why I did this. It's like, it's almost literally in some cases, right? A lot of that stuff is so weapony. The theme is constantly death and destruction. I mean, they know exactly who they're advertising to. They're advertising to. Do I try to like lessen the blow here? They're definitely advertising to less intelligent people or kids in some cases, right? People who are vulnerable to the wrong idea, right? They're essentially charging you for the idea of violence, which I don't like. I don't think that that's good. So I think that allowing this population to find my channel, even if it means that we get some spaghetti wizards in the comments, which you guys are no strangers to, right? We see that sometimes. Even if I manage to convert 2% of these people into buying proper tools and then using them as tools with the idea of using them as tools, I would consider that a win. I am so motivated to do this. In fact, I'm so motivated that I have already purchased a dragon-themed bladed object. I'm having a hard time calling it a knife, and I think you guys will you'll understand when it arrives, which will actually be very soon. But these items will get unboxings, and they will also get reviews. But they will stand out from my other content. Number one, the unboxing thumbnails and the review thumbnails will be very, very obvious that these are these types of things. These are the trash level. In fact, I'm thinking about putting the same word or some sort of indicator in the title or the thumbnail to let you guys know beforehand that this is this type of content. That way, the people who are like, yeah, I get it, but I'm not really interested in it. Like, this is like, I get what you're doing, but it's not really for me. That way, those people can skip it. And those of you who are interested, can watch, right? As a service to my subscribers. But the other part of this is hopefully it grabs on to the algorithm and allows the algorithm allows it to be kicked out to people who would otherwise not find my channel. I love this idea. And, Nick and I, of course, talking about taking over Terrible Knives Live. This would be a great way to acquire some of this stuff and do these types of Terrible Knife Live shows on live streams. And then afterwards, I'm not sure exactly what I would do with it. The stuff that I deemed safe, I would probably give away on live streams, to people who I knew would not actually try to go out and use them seriously. I love this idea. And as much as I always appreciate your guys' feedback, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to do this no matter what. I know that there's going to be people in the comments telling me why it's not a good idea to do this, or why I shouldn't, or how it might negatively impact this. Maybe. But the general, like my motivation behind my content has always been the same. It's always been like whatever I find enjoyment in. And I love what I do. I love finding great stuff. I love identifying things that are really good value for the tier that they're in, right? And I love it when people jump into my comments and tell me that they bought something that I recommended and they really, really loved. I love that, right? Some of the stuff that I've been getting over the last couple of years has felt very stale, right? I know that you guys who watch my channel a lot, you know that I always bring you, to the best of my ability, the latest and the greatest and the most interesting, right? And that stuff will always interest me. It'll always be easy for me to get excited about Winter Blade Co., right? Or whoever is making crazy stuff, like the Dalibor and We Knives collab. Like, it'll always be super easy for me to get excited about this stuff. And it'll also be really easy for me to get excited about really, really great budget knives, because who doesn't like an amazing budget knife, right? But sometimes you get a $50 to $60 knife that's just a $50 to $60 knife, and there's not really anything to say about it, right? And sometimes that content just drives me nuts. Sometimes I upload it and, I do the unboxing and I'm like, well, great. Here's another one of these. And I do the review on it. And I'm like, I know this is helping some people, but I'm just not really motivated to do this because there's not really a whole lot to say. I want to take those things out and replace it with something that I enjoy doing. And if there's a small population of my own subscriber base that enjoys this edition, then great. Because I feel like most of my subscribers are not enjoying the stuff that like the stuff that just is like, yeah, it's another, right? I know many of you enjoy the wild and crazy stuff, the hyper expensive stuff, the really interesting budget stuff, and the stuff that I'm really, really interested in. Like, I know that's the core, and that'll always be here. That will always be here. TKG will always be here. Top 10, all that stuff will always be here, right? My discussion topics will always be here. But I want to remove the stuff that's dull, excuse the knife pun, and add in something that's more fun. I know you guys expected me to say sharp, but that doesn't really work there. So that's what I'm going to do. How frequently? I don't know. I have 14 slots a week. I upload 14 times a week. I can make room for it. Definitely. I know some of you guys want to know about submissions, things like that. Can you submit something to me? What I don't want to do is start creating more work for myself in the form of having to send things back to people. So I don't want to be asking my community for free stuff. But if I were to take submissions, it would have to be worked out that the submissions would stay with me until they were given away in mass, right? Because I can't add to my workload. Even if it's just shipping a few things out extra a week, I'm already slammed with my schedule. So I think most of the time I would prefer that people suggest things to me that they have found on Amazon or whatever website if they're incredibly inexpensive, and then I just buy them. And then anybody who wants to submit something to me that I can just keep until I decide to give it away, because obviously I don't really have any interest. I'm not doing this to like build a collection of garbage, right? But if somebody wants to submit something, then maybe we can work out a way to discuss that. But I think for now, I'd like to just seek this stuff out and just discuss it with you guys, I guess, in the comments section. But I'm excited about this. I want to do this. I want to talk about this stuff. I think it'll be fun, and there is a limitless supply of these bizarre, just terrible things. They've been around forever, and we're all like, oh, the untouchables. We can't. Oh, we are above this. I want to evolve into it. Right? The perfect irony. Let's do it. Why not? I've looked at every other corner of the knife world. Let's explore the darkness. Let's explore the hell below. Let's venture into the next chapter of Metal Complex. Let's do it. That's it. That's it for today's Knife Guy episode. I hope this was entertaining for you guys. The whole reason behind this channel is just enjoying knives, even if it's being negative, right? So I hope that you guys are excited about this. I definitely am. But anyways, tell me what you think down in the comments section. That's going to be it today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex and on TikTok at _metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.